This afternoon's sessions, we got a great lineup for you. Stavros is about to do how to use your Apple II as a dumb terminal for Mac OS X. After that, we're going to have Jeff Weiss. He's going to talk all about the GNOME open source Unix-like environment that runs on an Apple II GS. And then the last one before the banquet will be Melissa Barron doing her Oregon Trail game mod. Thanks, Stavros.
All right. So, actually, there's going to be two parts to this presentation. The first part is going to be, they're related. First part is going to be bootstrapping an Apple II using ADTPro. And then the second part is going to be using the Apple II as a dumb terminal. Because when I actually sat down to do the dumb terminal part, I realized that it would only take 10 to 15 minutes of presentation. So, since I have an hour allocated, I figured that I would include this other stuff about ADT to help people, especially if they haven't used ADT before. It's actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. So, start off with what is ADT? And ADT is, I think it stands for Apple Disk Tool or something along those lines. Apple Disk Transfer. And it's a way of transferring disk images and such from modern PCs, whether they run Linux or Mac OS X or Windows, to good old real Apple IIs and making actual physical floppy disks out of them. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can download the disk images and make them yourself on Apple IIs.
The disk images of ADT?
Yeah, you can download the disk images and make them with whatever disk image conversion program you like. Or, let's say all you have is a Mac with serial cable, or PC with serial cable, a 2E, and blank disks. So how do you start up, if you don't have a system disk, how do you start up the computer? Well, the people that made ADT thought about that, and they use a process called bootstrapping. So where do you get ADT? I'm going to load up Safari here. So ADT can be found at http://adtpro.sourceforge.net.
No punctuation in ADTPro.
That's right, ADTPro, all one word.
And SourceForge too.
At SourceForge, all one word, .net. Okay, and they're actually pretty good. They include a decent tutorial on how to do serial bootstrapping. So, what does ADTPro require? It requires, of course, a modern computer, and they have versions of the server program for Macs, Linux, and Windows. And it requires any Apple II, actually. If it's a 2 Plus, if it's an Apple II, 2 Plus, or 2E, you have to have a super serial card. Or it'll work with the 2GS modem port, or it'll work with the 2C modem port, or it'll work with an Apple III serial port. Or it'll function with Ethernet, if you have an Ethernet card in your system. And as far as I know, that's the only Ethernet card that is supported, is the Ethernet. Or you can actually use the Apple II's cassette ports. So if you have a 2 Plus, or 2E, you can do it that way. But I chose to go the serial route. Incidentally, Tony sells super serial cards for 20 bucks at 16sector.com. Thought I'd put in a little plug for you there. Big smile. There's a company that makes cables that you can get and attach to your USB to serial adapter for your modern computer, and I'll show you that website in a minute. I did not buy my cable from them. I just bought off-the-shelf parts at Micro Center. But what you need is a USB to serial adapter, and then you need a serial cable, and then you need some way of connecting it to the super serial card on the back of the 2E. Hence all the gender changers and size changers and whatnot. The cables that you get from the other website don't have nearly this much mess on the end. But it works, so that's what I'm going to use. But the cables you can get from retrofloppy.com. products.html. So retrofloppy.com/products.html, right there. And as you can see, they make a cable that goes from, for Apple IIc and Laser 128, null modem cable, Apple IIgs, Apple III, and Super Serial Card, and various adapters. So they'll even sell you ADT on a disc for $8, which, yeah, kind of steep. I mean, you can do it yourself. So just buy the cable from them and skip buying the disc from them, because once you have the cable and the software, you can make the disc yourself. But they also apparently sell brand new old stock floppy disks as well. And 5¼ inch floppy controllers. So anyways, so that's where you can get cables from. And they seem to be reasonably priced, like 20 bucks or something. They're custom made, I assume. So once you have the cable, you can hook it up. Now, make sure that whatever driver disk came with your cable gets installed on the computer. I previously installed the drivers on here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to plug in my serial cable to the Mac. I'm going to plug this into the Super Serial Card on the back of the 2E. And I'm going to put this away for a minute. And then I'm going to start up the ADTPro application. Like that.
So does this require like a Java virtual machine or something?
Yeah, I think this is actually written in Java. So I think you do have to have a Java virtual machine. So I'll just get this out of the way. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that it's configured. So you choose serial, because that's the connection that we're going to use, and it says connected. So
Which doesn't actually need
it doesn't. Well, I think if one of the ends was disconnected, it would tell me that there wasn't anything there. Serial configuration, bootstrapping. I'm going to leave the speed at 9600 because when I tried faster speeds, it didn't work. Leave the pacing at the default of 150. And then under port, you're going to choose whatever your serial cable is called. Mine is called TTY USB serial.
On Windows, that'll be different.
In Windows, that might be different. Yeah. Or if you're using a different adapter, it's going to have a different name.
One of the quick ways to do it is start it up without the port connected, and then see what shows up when you plug it in.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you call it if it's homemade?
It doesn't matter. The USB adapter
Well,
is
the
really
USB adapter I bought. That's a separate thing.
Okay.
If you're using a machine that has its own serial ports, go for it, because you already know that it's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. But since I'm a MacBook Pro. Alright, so that's set. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to bootstrap. We're going to start up the computer with ProDOS. We're going to boot the computer into ProDOS without a disk. Okay? So I'm going to start the process, and then I'm going to switch the 2E monitor over to the screen so you can see what's happening. So you start off, you go to the bootstrapping menu, you choose ProDOS, and it says send ProDOS. Okay, and so what it's going to do is it's going to give you commands to enter on the Apple. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch. Alright, so the commands that it asks us to enter are IN#2, IN number 2.
Or whatever slot your serial card's in.
Or whatever slot your serial card is in, that's true. But the usual place for this type of serial card is slot 2. And then, now this says Control A 14B. Some super serial cards require you to use Control I. So if you press Control A and nothing happens, then try Control I. So when I do Control I on mine, it responds with Apple SSC. That means that it's listening for a command, and the command you're going to enter is 14B. And then you hit return. Okay? And then on the Mac side, after you've entered those commands, then
Stavros, why did we enter that command? What does it mean? What's it for?
Sets the baud rate.
Yeah, it sets the baud rate. Yeah.
Number 14 on the list.
To match what's
Right.
other
Yeah.
machines can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't do that and it doesn't work, now you know why.
Right.
Unless it's already set to 9600.
Right. And then you hit OK. So I'm going to go back and hit OK. And this should work. Yep. All right. So what it's doing is it's entering ProDOS into the computer, byte by byte, as if you were sitting there typing it.
Just faster.
Yeah, a lot faster. This takes about 250 seconds to do.
If you got bad RAM in there, you're about to find out.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, so while this is going on, I'm going to talk about the software that you need on the Apple II side to use your Apple II as a dumb terminal for OS X. Just about any terminal program will do as long as it supports VT100 terminal emulation, or actually VT100 or higher. So, for instance, ProTerm would work. I'm not going to use ProTerm, however, because ProTerm will not fit on a single floppy disk, 5¼ inch floppy disk, and I don't have any 3½ inch drives connected to this computer. So what I'm going to use is another program called Modem Manager, or modem.mgr, and you can get that from Asimov. Yeah.
The reason you need ProTerm on a single disk is because you have to move it in one shot to be able to use it.
Yeah.
I'll make a special one for this.
Okay. Cool.
I can
Okay, so Tony will make a special
can
program
eliminate
disk, but I'm going to use Modem Manager because that's what I did. And I think, let's see, you can find that. While that thing's going, I'm going to find Modem Manager here real quick.
And don't memorize these codes. They're a proprietary part of Apple.
Yeah. Thanks for the warning.
I've been writing them down.
All of
Do they have any restrictions on public display?
Better not.
It's another illegal number, just like
For commercial use.
Just like the DCSS
Yeah.
number. That I put on the back of the car anyway.
You have this as a bumper sticker.
I have a long number.
Comes with a pair of
Got one of those scrolling LED.
all right. Okay, so this is one place. You can get it on the mirror for ground. mirrors.appleton.org.zae/ground.iowa.edu/useful.stuff/disks with a capital D. Yeah, I know, it's a long URL.
It's I see it. Is that what
You want me to bit.ly it or tiny URL it?
If you put together a package of just the exact stuff you need, I'll make
You'll
a
post it.
I'll select it someplace in the order it needs to be.
Okay. We'll do that. But the file you want is mmgr_pdos_dsk, which has the disk images in it, which I've already downloaded.
Hey.
Okay, so if you look at the 2E, ProDOS has just booted, and they've helpfully gone back to the prompt so that you can send the ADTPro program over to it. So we'll switch back to the Mac.
That's the coolest part.
The Mac says all done. Next, send the ADTPro serial client. So what we're going to do is go back to Bootstrapping, ProDOS, and we're going to choose Send ADTPro Serial Client. So it's going to tell you to do the same thing. Input from the super serial card, IN number 2, and then the Control-I or Control-A 14B to set the baud rate, and then hit OK. So I'm going to do that now.
And you still got no disk in it.
Still have no disk in here. All right. And now I'm going to hit OK on the Mac. And you're going to see it do another song and dance with the numbers.
What is it sending over now?
Now we're sending over the ADT program itself that's going to run on the 2E.
Right.
And once that's done, then you can take a blank disk, format it, and then put the disk image onto the floppy.
And then you don't have to do this bootstrapping stuff again.
And then you don't have to do this bootstrapping stuff again.
Then you've got a disk with ADT and Prodos and basic.
Yes, basic system is on here. Basic system is on here. Now I went ahead. I'm gonna make an ADT disk for you guys, but I also went ahead and sent and did the modem manager disks ahead of time. So I'm not gonna spend the time to do all of them again, but I will go through the process once for you to see how it works.
Does it always run 9600 or can it run faster once ADT is-
It can run faster.
I've done 15 whatever on 2GS with accelerated 2GS.
You can do a little bit.
115 too.
Yeah, 2GS. Yeah, it'll go faster. I tried faster on this one. I tried 19200, but
The sum of all evils, 9600 will get it done in the same amount of time you spent messing with the other one trying to get it done.
exactly.
Let's use a crappy Windows box, then it'll run 100.
Does anyone know what the baud rate is if you use a cassette port?
It's atrocious.
It's like
Doesn't
45.
it take like 3 minutes to transfer disks?
45 to 110 or
Or
something.
30 minutes?
There are lots of
I
numbers about
think
this.
I think it does take 30 minutes.
1,500 bytes per second is the speed.
That's,
And that's for all data. So it's sending, I don't know what it's sending, whether it's sending binary data.
So about 7 times
No,
slower.
1.5, I'm sorry.
Okay.
1,500 kilobits per second.
That's what you might as well be going doing while you're waiting.
This place as fast as 300.
Yeah, and as this is doing, as it's sending the stuff to the Apple II, it's got a progress bar that tells you how much you got left. So,
Also, for those who notice the ProDOS blinking, you don't usually get ProDOS blinking. Should you be able to capture that version of ProDOS that it sends over, that's not one you really want to use for anything else. They've stripped out the quit routine in it to dump it back to basic. They've got just enough to get this client to run, and you're going to bring over a real disk, and you got legitimate stuff.
yeah, this is a neutered version of ProDOS that we just loaded. Yeah,
It's PDOS.
PDOS. All right, so now we've got ADTPro running on our 2E.
Yay.
Okay, with no disk in the drive. Now, while that's running, we're going to put a floppy in, and we're going to format the disk. I put it in slot 6, drive 1, so you just choose that. Just leave the volume name. It doesn't matter what you put for volume name. Ready to format? Yes.
And by the way, their format goes fast.
Very fast. It's
And they replaced the disk read write for read machines also.
oh. Okay.
Originally, I thought I was not competitive with Prodos until I realized it was just ADT that I was doing.
Okay. All right. Let's format another. No. Okay. So let's go back to the Mac for a minute. Inside the directory that ADTPro comes with is a folder called disks. Okay, and that's where you put your disk images to be transferred over. All right, so we're going to transfer this disk image, ADTPro-1.1.5.dsk, from the Mac to the Apple and make the disk. Okay? So any disks you want to make, you put in there, because you type in the file name on the Mac side, I mean on the Apple side, and not on the Mac side. So we'll switch over. We'll switch over.
These voice commands are so rough.
Huh?
The voice commands to the projector.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we hit R for receive, and then ask for the file name. ADTPro -1.1.5.bsd. And we hit return. All right, so it's getting ready. So you choose the disk, and you hit return. And as you can see, this goes pretty quickly. So it reads off the Mac, and it writes it to the disk.
This is 9600?
Yeah. I think.
In this phase, I found you can usually run faster than the bootstrap phase.
Yeah. Yeah, this phase, yeah, you can run, yeah. The bootstrap is where it kind of gets confused if you.
Yeah, it's generally because of the scrolling of the text screen as it's entering data.
Yeah.
It delays it enough that it can drop characters from the serial
Right.
port.
And
That's
this app can
probably-
check some, so it can tell that.
And that's probably what was fouling this up, even at 9600 on the, I tried it on the 2E card in the Color Classic that I have with me. That's probably what was screwing it up.
Because that's got even slower screen updates.
So if you crank the pacing number up, that probably fix it.
That pacing only applies to bootstrapping. So
Yeah.
once you get it in there, you don't need it anymore.
Right.
Especially on
All right, so now we have our disk. Okay, and then in the future, all you do is this. And then you choose which program to start, and you never have to do bootstrapping again. Unless something happens to your disk. But you're going to make a backup copy, right?
Right.
Eventually.
All right, so I used ADTPro to make the Modem Manager disks that we're going to be using for the rest of the presentation. So you start off by using the Modem Manager install disk. So I'm going to put that in here.
So it is multiple disks.
Yeah. There's 3 disks. There's an install disk, a work disk, and a utilities disk. But all you're going to use are the install and the work disk. All right, so it says insert work disk with uninstalled or previously installed program and press return. So I'm going to do that. Insert the work disk. Insert install disk. All right, so these are the options that you're going to install. You're going to install the 80-column video driver. So you choose option 1, install video driver, and 2, Apple II 80-column. Normal or split screen, you're going to do normal. It's going to load its file. Use this driver, yes. Okay. And then you're going to install a modem driver, which is option 2. Return. And you're going to do option 2, which is internal plug-in serial or communication card with external modem. And then you're going to tell it what kind of serial card it is, so that's option 3 here, or whatever serial card you have. Which slot is the card in? It is in slot 2. Use this driver, yes. And then for the modem, you're going to use option 10, non-smart modem. Driver, yes. And so That sets it up. And then you're going to do 0 for quit installation. It gets written, well, actually I think there's a save configuration first. You save it. I've already configured the disk, but there's a save configuration that you do first before you...
It apparently doesn't want
Exactly. I'm gonna go through that so you know what number that is. Huh? Yeah, 9. I think you're right. Yeah, save new installation, hit 9, and then quit. Okay, so I've already done that. So now you're going to do everything from your work disk. So you boot the computer from the work disk. Alright, so you're at the terminal screen. Now we're going to switch back to the Mac and set things up on the Mac side. So you go into Applications and Utilities, Terminal App, and then first thing you want to do is find out where your serial card lives. So you're going to do CD/DEV. So you're going to change to the device directory. And then ls is like the catalog command. TTY.*. The asterisk is a wildcard. So it's just going to show you the files that start with TTY. And you look for your USB serial, which in this case is USB serial. And you file that away for further reference. Now, the instructions that I found, for whatever reason, they couldn't get editing the TTYS configuration, the terminal configuration file. Editing that didn't quite work out the way they had hoped. So they kind of fake it out using a command called screen. So what you do is you type screen /dev/ then that tty.usb serial, and then the baud rate. Now, I am going to intentionally use a slow baud rate, but you can use whatever you want. I'm going to use 1200 because we're going to connect to a BBS. And what this is going to do is this is going to simulate the old days of dialing into a BBS at 1200 baud. So I'm going to use 1200. And that's not supposed to happen. This worked the last time. No. That's what the oh, ADT is using the serial port. Get that out of the way. There we go. There we go, now it works. And the next command that you enter on the Mac is
It takes a few seconds to release it.
Yeah, that's true. This worked before. Old Murphy has affected me.
It's also the demos.
Huh?
Demos and everything will go around.
Yes.
Second you try to finish.
You use the effort, so don't keep typing.
Yeah. Sorry, could not find any key line.
You need the, to be already ready for it.
I might actually. Message
Yes,
file.
message file.
Well, I disconnected it, so, and I reconnected it, so we'll see. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's it.
No. So let me configure the Apple and see. All right, so to configure the Apple, the 80 column card is on. So you set the baud rate. So you do escape M, and the baud rate that we want is 1200. So we're going to do H for 1200. And it says wait, and so we wait. No, actually, it's waiting for the next command. You set the parity, which is escape J. And what you want is 8 plus 1 plus none, which is option 6. And then we want to do VT220 emulation, which is escape colon. And then you want V, which is VT220. And then that's set. So now let's do the EX.
It's showing up on the Apple now.
Okay, it's showing up on the Apple, but not on the Mac. XEC space colon 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 space forward slash USR forward slash LIBEXEC slash GETTY space STD slash 1200. And you hit enter. And theoretically, it's supposed to show. Oh, anyways.
Do you need to type that in another terminal window?
No.
No, you would-
Oh, well, maybe you do.
no, because you still got to type the terminal.
Let's see. EXEC. Colon, colon, colon. Slash USR. Getty.
This prompt.
Exec not found. Okay, there's something. Hang on.
Colon stuff. But, yeah, something.
CD before you.
Hang on. Oh, okay. I'm missing a key combination in screen. All right, so to get, okay, this is what you do. To enter that EXEC command. When you're in screen, first you hit Control A, and then Shift colon, Control A, Shift colon. Okay, and then it gives you a little prompt, and that's where you do exec colon 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 slash USR. not 1200 because you're doing 1200 baud. And then you hit return, and there you are. Now you've got the login screen on your computer, and you can log into the Mac. All right, so there you are. I'm listing a directory. And as soon as that's done, then I'm going to telnet into, issue the screen clear command, and we're going to telnet bbs.a2central.com. And then log in.
Do that with Spectrum, you know, sort of fancy colors.
Yeah. Exactly.
As long as you were using the ANSI online.
Huh?
As long as you use the ANSI online display.
Right.
For those of you that haven't seen that before,
Huh?
it's ASCII art, but just not as impressive on the
On
two
the
screen.
Apple II, yes. And so, there you are. Your Apple II as a dumb terminal for Mac OS X. Now, what else can you use it for? Let's disconnect from the
Legend of the Red Dragon.
huh?
Yeah, spaceship.
Trade Wars.
Yeah.
Come on, 1200 baud, that's what it's for.
This hurts to read the ASCII.
Yeah, it is.
Composite never was great for 8 column.
But it's actually ANSI art with ASCII art. That's why it's
Oh, that's why it's hard to read. Okay.
So what?
ANSI art rather than ASCII art. So it's using all the block characters that
It's not
IBM put
ANSI.
in.
It's plain text right now.
Right now, find out.
Synchron has plain text menus and ANSI. Plain text menu.
Yeah, so you
Running
can,
all the time.
so exactly. You can have it running away on your
2E.
2E while you do your stuff on your modem.
And that
Right,
window doesn't
on your-
have to be front most.
No, that window, the window that's on the thing, you can just hide it. As you can see, basically what's happening is whatever is in this window is getting sent to the screen. It's getting mirrored. So you can hide this, put it away, run whatever program you want, and this will continue to do its thing.
So it could be a Twitter feed.
It could be a Twitter feed. It could be IRC. It could be,
It could be the weather, it could be a clock.
yeah, exactly.
Could be Trade Wars.
Trade Wars.
Can we connect it to Whopper?
Huh?
Can we connect it to Whopper?
Probably. Yeah.
I'd like to play a game.
Does anyone know if there is a built-in IRC client in Leopard?
The best thing to do is to use IRSSI.
Is that,
IRCSSI.
But it's not built in, is it?
No, you're going to have to use.
If you walked into the BBS, there's a link right through.
yeah, I probably could. But we're running out of time here, the next presentation.
You're using screen. Can you invoke another screen on the Apple II then? Or another window?
You probably could. But I think ProTerm would be a little more powerful for that sort of thing.
You know what's cool about this is, for my job, I work in a terminal all day long. My primary computer could be this here, act as a terminal.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
You get your coworkers coming in and staring at you. Funny, but you know.
Just tell them it's part of the downsizing. You guys are next.
Yeah.
Wait until your TI-99 4A shows up.
All right. So, any questions? I hope that wasn't too technical for you. I'm going to write this up and actually submit it as an article to JuiceGS.
Sweet.
I already know one edit I'm going to make.
Look, you can't leave trade words out.
I'll put that in just for you.
Thank you. Yeah, by the way, I'll subscribe again if you publish again. So
I'm going to write the article without using the words built in.
Okay.
Or inbuilt.
What
the heck is inbuilt?
The way it was built, comma, in 1983, comma.
Another way could be to say it was built into something.
Yeah, I know.
I would be challenged to rewrite that. I love a good challenge. I already told it once at this KFest. I'll tell you again later.
Okay.
Maybe I'll work into my JuiceGS session tomorrow.
What?
You should have a long editorial.
Why do you keep choosing the wording? Or the fictional word?
Sounds like a blog post.
Yeah.
Like I said in KansasFest too, if I park my car at the end of somebody's driveway, I have not in blocked them. I have locked them in.
And the power cord is not in block.
Not in block.
Thanks, Stavros.
All right, so any questions?